Champ 3 is by far one of the most difficult ranks to break out of because you are simply so close to achieving one of the biggest goals in Rocket League. So in today's video, we'll be discussing how you can finally break into GC by simply playing a smarter game than your opponents. It's fine. Be careful of how aggressive you chase down this demo. The second they drive past you and like they get over here, it's not even worth it to keep chasing it. Just pull off at that point. You're committing really heavily into your opponent's half here, and you're gonna make it very difficult for you to rotate back with any speed at all. As you can see, it's a very slow process to get back down the field. It's just unnecessary, especially because your teammate here is on 0 boost. They're pushing up with you, so now you're both here. So you're both landing basically in your opponent's final third. So if you push super hard here and get no touch on the ball, which is exactly what's going to happen, you're just creating a very good opportunity for your opponents to get down the field, because like, look at how much space just exists here in the midfield, because your teammate, if I had to guess, is probably on the mid boost on the other side. Yeah, there he is. So yeah, he's on the other side of the field. So yeah, you're giving him all this space in the midfield to challenge someone who's not really doing much of anything over here in the corner. It's just unnecessary to be that risky. So like, he gets past you, that's fine. We just turn off. Like, actually, this boost is here. So yeah, we could just drive back, get this boost, and now we'd be in a position to challenge immediately, rather than being behind the play. And luckily, that guy doesn't get any kind of clear on the ball. It goes literally nowhere. So it allows us time to get back. But if they had actually cleared the ball effectively, our teammate would be in a 1v1 back there for really no reason other than we tried to dive forward for something we didn't need to dive for. Good pressure on the opponent. That's fine. Right here, be careful of how you're turning. So this one's tough because, like, you know the ball is probably going to the left side. And this is, again, when we consider teammates' positioning. So teammate has just played the ball this way. So you're thinking, all right, ball is coming this way, I'm gonna turn. The problem is your teammate's momentum is carrying him directly into that same area. So if you also turn, now you're putting both your teammate and yourself over there, when only one of you needs to be over there. So it's okay to recognize, hey, his momentum's carrying him that way. Let's just let them do that, and we'll just, like, coast back here, take, like, another mid pad or two, and just kind of wait to see what happens. Let me see if I go to fly here. What are we looking at? So yeah, if you just didn't turn and just stayed like here, now you'd be a little bit further back. Your teammate's already covering that area, and now you can be like back here, to play off of whatever happens. And now you can move forward with momentum rather than having to do this turn in the midfield. So just be aware, if you see your teammate's momentum carrying them in a direction, it's ideal to not really turn in to that same direction, right on top of them, because it's going to create situations where you're both just on top of the ball, and now like this, your teammate does get a clear down the field, which is great, but you now have to take extra time to get into a spot where you can actually be available to impact the play. So what we want to start kind of understanding is every bit of movement that we have on the field should be designed to keep us as involved in the play as possible. So the real question is, like, by turning this way, did we help ourselves stay involved in the play? Well, in this case, obviously not, because we're currently doing this, like, whole circle thing. So we just really want to consider, with everywhere we're moving, we just want to keep ourselves involved in the play as much as we can. So right here, line yourself up with the boost pads a little bit better. Our immediate flip should be straight down this line. And then, so you flip once. I wouldn't flip here, just because as of right now, we have no idea where this ball is about to go. It could really go anywhere. It could go back in here. Could go over there. Like, yeah, you might be a little worried about the ball going into, like, directly towards your nets, but our teammate does look like they have a decent amount of coverage on this ball in terms of the challenge that's about to happen. So it's okay to just drive normally, wait to see where things are going to go, and then play off of that information once you get it, rather than flipping further downfield. And now if your teammate does win it, like, yeah, you might have a little bit more boost back there, but you're so far away from the play that you can't really do anything. So again, with that idea of staying involved in the play as much as possible, try to avoid flipping out of the play when you don't know where the play is actually going. Because you're completely abandoning your teammate here. to do not a whole lot of anything. And if you had just been driving, like, yes, it's a little bit risky, but you have every chance to just immediately turn on this ball now that it's just bounced into the midfield, rather than being all the way over here, and now you've left yourself in a 1v1. Because you can't turn to challenge this. You only have 12 boosts, and that guy's about to have free control of the ball. Luckily, they do that. Inspired 1v1 attempt. Like, wow. They put you under so much pressure there. That is impressive. Yeah, higher level players just going to catch that. They're going to dribble you. They're not just going to bang the ball forward and hope for the best. But yeah, definitely be careful of when you flip out of the play. Because oftentimes, if you flip away, you're going to create enough space in the midfield that if the ball falls to your opponents, it's just going to be a free 1v1 for them. That's pain. I don't hate this challenge, but I think we could take it a little bit smarter. What's happening here is with this challenge, you're kind of jumping ahead of the ball and then flipping into it like this-ish. And what that means is you're cutting off the path this guy wants to take and then killing the ball pretty much where it is, which is not the worst thing. But the problem is that this player is not going anywhere particularly dangerous. Like, they're currently just going sideways. So if they want to keep going sideways, that's really not the worst thing they could do, especially because we can just keep tracking with them. So what I would encourage you to do in a situation like this is just position yourself between the ball and your net, and if they make any attempt to go towards the net, then you can challenge the ball. But otherwise, we just want to make sure that they keep shading this way, and when we have a chance to, like, challenge the ball past them, we'll take it. The reason we don't really want to look for this, like, dead challenge like we do here is because this opponent is sitting right here and can very easily run directly onto the ball if we go for something like that. So, just very risky to go for a challenge that could possibly kill the ball. And I don't even know if you really knew it was happening, or if you were kind of just thinking, oh gosh, that guy's getting a touch, I need to challenge the ball as fast as possible, without really considering where they were actually going. Because if you really considered where they were going on the field, you'd be like, oh, well, this isn't dangerous at all currently. I don't need to panic dive at this. I'm seeing two options here. Obviously, like, we love to get this boost. Like, this is a natural thing. You land in your opponent's net, you rotate out, you grab the boost, you go back. That is a totally normal thing that happens quite often. The problem is you need to consider the position everyone is in on the field at the time you decide where you're going to go out of your opponent's net. And the problem a lot of players run into is they land here, and they don't really think about anyone else on the field, and they're like, all right, I've landed, I'm rotating back, I go get big boost, and then I go back. So what I'm seeing is as I land, this guy has control of the ball, full boost, up the wall, free possession. This person can push up in the midfield to supply support for their teammate. Our teammate is left completely alone all the way back. So if I take my sweet time getting back from here, however I want to go about it, I am just making it a longer period of time that my teammate has to defend solo, which is not what we want to do. Being in a position like this and then just taking our time rotating back is basically saying, good luck, teammate. I believe that you can win this 2v1 without any help whatsoever, which normally ends with your team getting scored on. But yeah, what I would probably do here is just honestly encourage the mid pads initially, just to see kind of what's happening, and then we can adjust off of that. If they see you go that way, now they're like, oh great, okay, well, I need to buy even more time than I might be comfortable with, and it's just super awkward. Yeah, good on you. Scuffed kickoff again, but you're obviously aware of how to take kickoffs and of not to do that. And now here's where we talk about situational awareness once again. So we know we get a terrible kickoff. We land. Instinct tells us that the ball is over here, so we want to go that way, which normally is totally fine. The problem is teammate here is on 0 boost, so we have to take that into account when we consider where we want to go. So initially you grab this pad. This is good. I think you should flip not over that way, but more towards the middle of the field. because your teammate is not going to be able to cover much on 0 boost, especially with the fact that this player just stole the corner. So we want to be in a position where we can support them. And if we go all the way out, we give ourselves the momentum to then be able to attack the ball if we arrive at the right time, but we're actually going to cause ourselves to arrive too slow, because we're just kind of going off of habit and not really playing what's happening in the play. Because you can see, if you just continue to go straight here, you'd probably be perfectly fine. Totally, like, you'd have 24 boost, you'd be totally fine, but instead you swing out, and then because of that, you're not in position to make the save. So just play off of the position. Obviously, yeah, we love the rule of, like, hey, take your time, rotate back post. But that's only good if we actually have the time to do so. So we just have to identify if we have the time or not. And if we don't have the time, we definitely don't want to be going for it. Another opportunity for a fake challenge here. Or even not even a fake, but just not going in general. Your teammate is in your opponent's final third. Like, just got to be aware of that, like, that they're there. So if we go and we get beat, it's just open the other way, and there's no reason. We still have plenty of time. If this was, like, 30 seconds left, I could understand this, because, like, down by 2, 30 seconds, you're going to be a bit more aggressive. But down by 2 with a minute 55, like, it's not like we need to score a goal right this second or else we're going to lose. It's totally fine to not win this challenge. Because also, even if, let's say we do go and we do win this, chances are we are not going to be able to get back to it because it's going to, like, bounce along the corner wall. But our teammate's rotating out, so they're not going to be able to turn quickly on it either. So all that will do is just give the ball for free to the other opponent who's probably back there somewhere. So with that in mind, just recognize, like, there's really no good outcome from diving at this. So just make them awkward, fake the challenge, force them to do something, and then play off of it in shadow defense while trying to buy time for your teammate to get back. Oh boy.
I tried to doink it.
Okay, that makes much more sense. I really didn't know what the attempt was, I'm gonna be honest. Realistically, I don't hate the idea, but I also don't know if it's an effective scoring technique in this position. So you see this, like, you have to know that Tim there probably doesn't have a whole lot of boost. So let's see, what do we know about Tim here? So he's gone back. He challenges the ball, uses a good bit of boost there. You steal the corner. He's gone into the air and used a bunch of boost to push forward onto the offensive half. And so you know he hasn't picked up boost in a hot minute, if you've been paying attention to that at all. So with that in mind, and you also can see that he's not using boost as he's flipping back. So that's another huge indicator that he's low. So with that in mind, like, yeah, control here, because ideally what we'd like in this position, like, the perfect play is we catch this. And our teammate, I think, is thinking it. If you catch this ball, I think our teammate goes for the demo, which is, like, perfect play. Like, you catch, he goes for the demo, and it's just an open net. Rather than doing something like this. Because also, it's very difficult for your teammate to read what's happening. Because this is not a touch that would score the ball, but it is one that, like, can possibly pop it up for your teammate to shoot. But the problem is it's really difficult for them to understand what's happening, especially with the positioning they have. So just a very risky play to go for, and one that doesn't have a very high percentage of working out, unfortunately. These are tough, because we see the opportunity, and, like, we really want to try to get a goal. Like, we really want to score here. I'll caution you, once you realize that, like, you haven't made the best touch, and you just don't really have much option. So, like, you do this, and you're like, oh, okay, well, like, you're not getting any kind of good shooting opportunity from here. It's just not going to happen. You just don't have enough control of the ball to change its direction enough to really throw off the defense. It's really important that you just kind of realize when you cross a certain point that it's no longer about scoring the goal, and it becomes more about how do I keep this from going poorly. Because it already hasn't gone as well as we would like. Like, we want to score here. But if we can't do that, we want to just try to keep this ball in as favorable a position as possible. So with that in mind, what I'm thinking here is if you can get onto, like, this side of the ball and 50 it back this way, your teammate's picking up the mid boost over there. So if you can 50 the ball back behind you here, you can then just continue on your merry way, grab this boost, and rotate back out as your teammate comes in to play the ball. But if you try to, like, force out some kind of shot here, then the challenge can be a lot more wild and can go pretty much anywhere. And it can end up in a spot where your team can't really play it and your opponents can just counterattack off of it. So Much better to recognize, like, oh, shoot, I've messed up this 1v1. All right, let's go to plan B, which is just try to get this ball to a favorable spot for my team. And it's just about knowing where that favorable spot is. Obviously, again, we just want to focus on staying on this midline. You go off of it, which means you're not picking up any boost this entire way, which is not great. And you're giving yourself less room to react. So you're in a decent spot, but just be that a little bit further back on this midline so that you have just that little bit more space to react to something. Because if Tim had hit that shot with power, from there, you're probably not saving it. From here, though, you'd have a much better chance. And you would have gotten way more boost, as you can see. You drove past literally all of those pads. So not great in terms of the boost pathing. Just try not to get sucked in towards the play. That's what ends up happening to a lot of people is like they're in the general vicinity of the pads they want to pick up. But the problem is they're looking so much at the play that they stop thinking about where the pads are and they just kind of gravitate towards the ball. And then it means they're not getting any of the pads they were in the position to get. And they're giving themselves less space to react to what happens. Which is, you know, kind of two very bad things to have going on simultaneously. Be careful of these. These are really tough, right? Because you're low boost, the ball is bouncing against your backboard. Like, there's no way you're going to leave this ball for free. What I would do here is try to drop this ball into a safe spot. And what I mean by that is don't burn your boost and just try to hit it as hard as humanly possible. Because if you hit this ball as hard as you're capable of, all you're gonna do is drop it here. It's really the only place it can go. You or your teammate are not going to get to a ball that lands over here. So if you can, just try to get the world's lightest touch here and keep it in this area. Like landing here maybe, landing somewhere around here. Like keep it in a spot where you can perhaps get back to it. And I think this ball is close enough to the wall that you wouldn't necessarily need to jump. So you probably need to jump a little bit, but I wouldn't use the boost. I would just jump, like even possibly get a touch with the underside of your car, and then just try to use that small boost amount that you have to stay with the ball as it falls towards the ground. Because basically what that'll do is it will keep you behind the ball, it will keep you in control of the play as much as possible, and it will force these guys to move in to challenge the ball. Because more than likely, they're not just going to let you land with it, but if they do, then great, you can just continue to buy time. But the general rule is that we don't just want to chuck the ball away when we're in this kind of awkward position, because all that's going to do is give away possession to our opponents. It's going to leave us in a really awkward spot, and it's pretty much going to leave our teammate abandoned in a 1v1, 2v1 situation. Because as you can see, we're kind of just floating here, and then we're going to land, and we have 0 boost.
At the point that you're fighting for GC, the biggest thing you need to focus on is doing these small parts of the game better than your opponents. If your boost pathing, decision making, positioning are all superior to the other team, you are going to give yourself a massive advantage in the game. Of course, thank you everybody so much for watching. I really do appreciate each and every one of you who made it to this point in the video, and I do hope you enjoyed it and found it helpful. If you're interested in seeing some more Rocket League coaching content, make sure you click that subscribe button right down below. As with each and every video, we strive to help you guys improve just a little bit more at Rocket League. Additionally, if you're interested in some one-on-one coaching of your own, or perhaps you just like to be a bit more involved in the community we're building here, feel free to join my Discord, which I'll have linked down in the description, as I do offer free coaching through there. And as always, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you next time. See you later, guys.
Thank you.